Have you ever wanted to help end a loved one's suffering, but legally and morally you thought it to be unjust or wrong or not possible? Or how about, a decreasing the surplus population for the good of the environment and economy as a whole for long term? Hi, my name is Corinne Ford, and today I will be discussing what I believe are the pros of genocide, assisted suicide, and um, euthanasia in the terminally ill and the elderly. Now, I can pretty much guess what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, Corinne, how can that be? How can you say such a thing? That could never be legal. That could never be possible. Well, I'm here to tell you that it is already more legal and more common than we thought it was, and not only in the U.S. but all over the world. Speaking of legality, so we have to go back, all the way back, to October 27th, 1977, when Oregon is implementing their Oregon Death with Dignity Act, which, according to the New England Journal of Medicine, allows the terminally ill in the state of Oregon to receive a lethal medication that is self-administering, which means a physician will write them a prescription, they will go get the prescription, and they will take the prescription, which allows them to take that forever sleep, take that forever nap. So, in layman's terms. Now, according to, well, there's much more information and much more details that goes into it, but just a snippet of what qualifies for those who want to end, their suffering. They have to be a resident of Oregon. They have to be an adult. They have to be terminally ill and have with an illness that will kill them within 6 months. And they have to be capable of making decisions and be able to communicate their needs soundly. So since 1977, there have been 9 other states that have come out with their own Dignity Acts and End of Life Acts, starting with Washington in 2008, Vermont in 2013, California, Colorado, and the District of Columbia in 2016, Hawaii in 2018, New Jersey and Maine in 2019, and now New Mexico in our very own 2021. Now, I know that's not a lot of states, only 10 so far, but as you can see from the years that they have come out, they are very recent, and it is being talked about and discussed today. Now, as far as the morality side of things go, personally, I believe that I would rather help a loved one to end their suffering than continue it for my own selfish purposes of keeping them around or what have you. My own, religious reasons and things like that. But personally, myself, I would personally like to see them smile as they go, or, be grateful knowing that they no longer have to suffer because of me or because, of whatever reason. Now, a good analogy of that, which is probably a terrible analogy, but the only one I could think of that would make the most sense, is pets. We have dogs, cats, lizards, birds, pythons, guinea pigs, what have you. And, they don't live as long as humans, obviously. But, what happens when they get sick? What happens when they get cancer? What happens when they can no longer, go to the bathroom outside, or they can no longer go up the stairs or move? What do? We take them to the vet, and if they can't help, we put them to sleep. We put them down and end their suffering. So why is it so different with humans? Why is it so different with humans when animals who can't communicate what's wrong with them other than physically, you see something, but humans can. Humans can, physically tell you what's wrong with them or physically tell you that they want to end it all. I don't, what's the disconnect? So another thing about the morality is, according to The Lancet, in 1999, there was a physician named Peter Regan who helped end a woman's life in 1999 in Oregon, a woman by the name of Helen, and she was in her 80s and had breast cancer. And he said that the whole experience with her, which I have on my speech written, um, transformed his life and his practice. He started thinking, he went in thinking, oh, I don't understand, like, why does she want in her life? And came out with a whole different perspective, came out with a whole different outlook on, how she held her honor and her grace and her sense of humor until the very end, and how peacefully she went, and how peacefully her family accepted and was able to move on and, you know, see the light, see the brighter side of it. And lastly, I will discuss shortly about sonicide, um, which in its basic meaning is the killing of the elderly or their abandonment to death. Um, Now, I found a short fable on that by the Brothers Grimm called The Duration of Life, um, which is it's kind of funny, but it's not. It's meant to be. It's meant to give you that thinking at the very end, where it talks about how the world when God created the world, He gave the ass, the dog, and the monkey, and the man each a lifespan of 30 years. Now, the ass, knowing him was to be a hard existence, asked for a shorter life. God had mercy and took away 18 years. The dog and the monkey similarly thought their prescribed lives too long, and God reduced them respectively by 12 and 10 years. Man, however, considered the 30 years assigned to him to be too brief, and petitioned for a longer life. Now, God granted that wish, and accordingly gave him the years of the ass and the dog and the monkey. Now, the first 30 years of the man's life were human. They were good. They were healthy. He was happy. The next 10 years, were the next 18 years. Sorry, he gave the ass 18 years. Um, were a burden. He got rewarded with kicks and blows no matter what he did. The next were the dog's 12 years, where he had no teeth to bite with, but he still tried to fight. And lastly became the last 10 years, which were the monkeys, where he basically is that old man that is senile or Alzheimer's or made fun of by the kids and became a laughing stock. And it's those 10 years that, that I wouldn't want to suffer through. I would like to, have some dignity at the end of my lifetime. So, in conclusion, I wish that I could talk more about this, but I hope that you guys learned something and that you guys agree with me. Thank you.